Elevation Nation. Tonight, today, whenever you're listening to the podcast, we have, as Parker likes to say, a special treat for you. Emily Billings is coming to us live from, I believe, Annapolis right now, not her normal spot in Hoboken. But again, one of the coolest parts about having a podcast is you get to have a passion project you scream from the rooftops and tell everybody about. And luckily for me, I was able to meet Emily through getting set up through work and just welcoming her to a company. We work at the same place. And, we were chit-chatting about all the things that I would tell new hires. And then, of course, I brought up Elevation Nation, and we instantly bonded over what I like to call our side hustles. And I was like, you have to come on the podcast and share your story. So, Emily, I'm so excited that we're finally doing this. Welcome to Elevation Nation.
Thank you. What an intro. I'm so excited to be here with you guys in the chat.
We are pumped. Sam always gets the, oh, wow, you just got a great intro.
Yeah.
He's used to that. Don't worry, Emily. I'm just, typical for me, I do some stalking, be able to look at like who we're, bringing on the podcast, see what I can learn about the new elevator that's joining the nation. And first thing what I see when I go to your TikTok page is you post in your bio a little bit of everything. So this conversation might be a little bit of everything. So we're super pumped to get into it. But first, we do ask every person who joins Elevation Nation the same question to start off the podcast. Emily, we got to hear, what is your elevator pitch so Elevation Nation can learn a little bit more about you?
Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see. So I guess a little bit about me. I grew up in Davidsonville, Maryland, this little suburban town in Maryland. I went to University of South Carolina. I wanted to go to a big state school, have that big football experience. And I did biomedical engineering. My dream was to go into medical devices, do research and development or something with regulatory strategy. And I did internships in the field, absolutely hated it, realized that it was not at all what I expected or what I wanted to do. So kind of shifted paths and decided to go into consulting. And I ended up wanting to fill some time, and I didn't want to feel so alone. And I was doing a fifth year because I had transferred schools as well. And then I started posting on TikTok, and then things just, I guess I got lucky, hit the algorithm. And I've been doing social media on TikTok and a little bit of Instagram. And yeah, here I am working a full-time job and trying to stay afloat, doing both.
And you're doing a great job of staying afloat because I think one of the things that Parker and I talk about a ton and most of the elevators are going through is this is a podcast for young adults, right? And I think, Emily, you might not know this story, but I'll give you the quick background on why we started Elevation Nation. So very similar to yourself, I wanted to go to a big state school, wound up going to Maryland. And when we graduated, we got jobs in consulting. And we thought, okay, this is an amazing job, amazing company. Life is great. We're getting a paycheck. We're adults. But that first year, those first few months were really rough for me. And I couldn't really figure out who I was or what I wanted to do, why I was here, what I was doing, and how to be happy. And I had to relearn all those things. And so I think we'll get into a little bit more about your story, maybe some of the struggles that you've been going through. But I think what I wanted to just commend you on is you have a ton of really positive stuff on your TikTok in some of your content that you're creating. But I think most importantly, you're very real. When you're starting something new or something scary, you make sure to let your viewers know about that. And I think that's what we try to do at Elevation Nation too. I think, unfortunately, for so many people, it's painting this picture on social media that everything's perfect. And that's just not life. And it's okay to not be perfect. And so how do you feel now that you're a young adult and maybe life isn't perfect, but you're kind of figuring it out? Has it been scarier than you thought or easier than you thought?
I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's scary, it's intimidating. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Your whole life, right? You have this path. You go to elementary or you go to preschool, then you go to elementary school, then you go to middle school and then high school. And then if you decide to go to college, it's like everything is so set in stone. Your parents are signing you up to go to sports or do whatever activity you're doing, whether that's martial arts or wrestling, I don't know. But after college, your life is what you make it. And you're just kind of thrown out there and you have to figure out what makes you happy. And it's no longer what your parents were signing you up to do. It's not the sport or it's not lacrosse that they put you into. Um, and trying to balance all that and figure that out while now all of a sudden you are forced to do, not forced, but willingly do a 9 to 5 and you're in that situation. It's really hard. And I don't know, it's everything. It's really tough for sure.
I think to your point, Emily, it's hard because we've, for you've gone through it a lot more recently than us. Sam and I have talked a ton about this, and our experience is that it's hard because you've never been through it before, right? It's probably the most difficult transition that you might ever go through in your entire life. To your point, your entire life, your entire childhood, you have people who are guiding you along the way, your GPS, the people who are routing you on how to go things. And if you go off course, they're going to reroute you to bring you back to where you need to go. Then you graduate. And then what's beautiful about that, it's almost a double-edged sword in the sense that with all that freedom, it's like, holy crap, now I can go anywhere and anything can happen and it's all up to me. And what was really challenging for me at first is the idea that, wow, like if I do something wrong at work, maybe I'm going to go the wrong way. And then I'm not going to have those people to help me get back on course. But what's really cool, and I think what's really fun about the work that Sam and I are doing at Elevation Nation, speaking with people like you, is that we've changed that narrative a bit, our mindset and how we look at that freedom. And I think it's really amazing once you have that mindset shift that, holy crap, I can post some videos on the internet, get 200,000 followers, and now later you're sitting on a podcast with us and you're crushing it in the corporate world, but you're also crushing it with everything else you're doing outside of that. And so I think that's really exciting and really cool, but you got to go through the hard stuff to be able to believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I get a lot of questions, especially recently. A lot of people asking, oh, would you quit your full-time job and just do influencing or do the social media thing? I don't think I could. I think having that hard thing where you're actually doing the 9 to 5, you're putting in the hard work and having goals in that separate area of life, I think that's really important. And I feel like if I were to give that up, it would be taking the easy route, and I'm not ready to do that yet. So I definitely think it's about making those hard
decisions.
Wow,
that's really interesting that you're saying that that's the easy route, quitting, and then going with the influencer social media route. That's really interesting.
It is, because then you're just, I mean, you only have one job. I guess it wouldn't be easy in the sense that now that's your full main source of income and you have to worry about health insurance and all the little details. But in terms of focusing on one career, I think it's easier in that sense for sure.
There's
unpopular opinion.
Yeah, no, it's a tough call to make. I think part of me always wonders that if I started to do Elevation Nation full time, would I enjoy it as much? With something that's a passion project and started as a hobby, very similar to you, like creating videos and content. If you only do that, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I get nervous that it'll lose its splendor.
I would agree. I think it also then becomes work, and it's hard because you want to love what you do, right? But at the same time, when it's a hobby, that's exactly what it is. It's a hobby. It's a way to de-stress. But then you start thinking about, oh gosh, I need to do this brand deal, or I need to have this podcast ad, and that's my only source of income. How am I supposed to pay the bills? And then you stop becoming authentic to your audience. And that's what influencing is. It's based on the trust that you have with your followers. And if you're just relying on income, you start to lose that trust because you start taking deals that maybe you weren't originally going to take because you had that financial freedom before.
It's a slippery slope, right? And I think it's one of the reasons why Parker and I haven't really taken any money from Elevation Nation is we want to be as authentic to us as humanly possible. And even if we started to make $1 off the podcast, we've done it before where it's like, are we really going to still talk about the same things and be as vulnerable or be as free with some of the things that we say on here? And it's tough to figure out how you can stay true to yourself while, maybe potentially turning it into something a little bit bigger, which I do want to talk about because this started, to your point, like many people on TikTok, just a day in the life of Emily, right? And then it expanded slowly but surely as you started making new and different types of content. And now you've built this relationship with your audience that, to your point earlier, is built on trust. You said you hit the algorithm, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Why do you think your story resonates with so many young people out there?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Wait, also before I answer, I would love to know, before I forget, if you guys had a dream partnership, like top 3 companies, what would it be?
Ooh, man.
Or like sponsorships, if you had to do your podcast ads. Do you have 3 companies?
Yeah, I have one in mind, and I don't think Parker's going to guess it.
Wait.
This should be on your guys' vision board. You should know this off the
I want to
bat.
guess this here. I want to guess this here.
Go ahead.
All right, so this is a company, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Something that you feel like you're very attached to the mission with, too.
Yeah.
So I know you.
There's no way you guess this. There's no way.
I don't know, dude. I have no idea.
Yep. Okay. Khan Academy. Do you know Khan Academy?
Oh, Khan Academy. Okay.
Wait,
that's
that
boring.
would be sick.
I feel like that their mission to just empower people with unlimited amounts of knowledge and make sure that everyone can learn from the best teachers in the world, no matter where they are or what their socioeconomic status is. Like, I don't know.
That.
It's a very first world problem. I think some of the stuff that Parker and I are tackling, but it shouldn't be. Like, oh, how do I feel fulfilled and how do I be happy as a young adult when so many people are out there like just grinding because that's what they have to do. But I think you can find happiness and joy and improve your mindset no matter what you're going through. And so I'd love to be able to open up that kind of mindset coaching to people of all different, backgrounds.
I mean, for me, I don't see like necessarily partnering with like a company. Like obviously the company we work at, I feel like we're like partnering indirectly in some way because I'm an extension of that, and you know what I mean. But then on top of that, we've spoken at our university. Like that's always so cool to be able to like, wow, we're speaking at our university. Like doing that is amazing. But I think where the industry is eventually going is partnering with creators, partnering with people, individuals, like we've already been doing. And that is what's really awesome with what we're doing with Elevation Nation, is that we're taking all that BS company bullshit out and we're talking with the person who's making it happen. We're talking with people who are making change and differences in the world. And I think that is what's really inspiring. So to your question, Emily, company-wise, I don't know. I'm happy talking to individuals who are making it on their own.
Do you guys have a 5 or 10-year plan for Elevation Nation?
We have an even shorter plan for what we want to accomplish this year. We want to speak at 10 different places this year. So we did 2 last year. So we're trying to up that this year. So that's our short-term vision. Long-term, when Parker and I started Elevation Nation, we had, I guess, 3 different main goals. We wanted to speak around the world, we wanted to help other people, and we wanted to elevate ourselves. And I think we've definitely now done all 3 of those. Maybe not around the world, around the country to start. And so
it's around the world.
Yeah.
By the way,
the dream would be to speak full time, and be able to just mentor as many people as possible.
You guys are on your way.
Emily, like the actual dream is to be able, in my eyes, to Sam's point earlier about doing full time, is like I would love to spend all of my time helping people get to that next ladder, next level. Like if we're talking elevator, like help people see or maybe motivate them to see the world a different way so that they can go tackle what they want to tackle. And it doesn't have to just be in business. It can be in relationships, physical, emotional health, spiritually, whatever it may be. And I think the podcast is the way that we're getting started with the conversation. but the goal is eventually events, speaker series, workshops.
Dude, you're forgetting your biggest one.
Camps, like all
there you
this
go.
stuff. Yeah,
Parker's
exactly.
dream is to open a camp, Emily. That's his true dream. He wants to make an Elevation Nation camp for adults.
Or I would be the first one to sign up.
I don't know, but I think it would be really awesome. It'd be amazing.
That would be so much fun.
Bringing together like-minded people to do really fun things, but at the same time have unique experiences to change your perspective on how you see the world. Like, come on.
And bringing in people from all over too to speak.
Exactly. That's the dream. That's the goal. That's the 10-year plan.
What about your dream?
Yeah, let's hear your dream.
What about your dream?
It's hard because I love asking people questions.
No, this is good. It makes it more fun.
My dream. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't even know. Sometimes I don't even know what's on the agenda for tomorrow until I look at my calendar for tomorrow.
Can I fill you in on something on that I just read in this book, which we're going to send to you? Hold on, let me get it.
Unless she's already read it. Do you read a lot of books?
I've recently gotten into reading, but it's more like nonfiction.
Okay, yeah.
Have you read this, The Defining Decade?
Okay. I haven't.
Perfect.
Fill me in.
We're sending it your way, courtesy of Elevation Nation.
Yeah. I just am like almost done with it. And she had this really good analogy. She was talking, it's a therapist, and she talks about some of the stories that kids in her 20s that she's working with are going through. And this kid is going in her office. And I think it's, probably similar to how you feel, Emily, but also myself, having just turned 28. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
No one does.
Yeah, no one does. And the kid said, like, I feel like I got dropped in the ocean after graduating from college, and I can't see land in any direction, but they told me to, like, survive. And he's like, I don't even know where to swim. Like, is it worth my energy even swimming in one direction? Because I don't even know if land's there. So I just tread water. And I thought that analogy was so spot on for how I think many young people feel, because it's a blessing and a curse. We're told from a young age, especially like you're an elevator, people who have it, whatever that it factor is. It's like, you're going to do amazing things when you're older. Like, just wait till you graduate from South Carolina. Like, you're going to change the world. And then you graduate and you're like, how the fuck am I going to change the world? What am I supposed to do? Like, what is my path? What is my purpose on this earth? And it's overwhelming to the point where we don't know what direction to go. And so she brought up in this book, she's like, instead of thinking that you're dropped in the ocean, think of you going to like Costco and they have jellies. And there's just 6 different jellies, 6 different flavors. Pick a flavor. Try a flavor. See if you like it. If you don't love that flavor, try another flavor. You only have 6. And so she said, like, don't think that you can do anything. Like, I'm not very tall. I'm not going to be in the NBA. Cross that dream that I've had since a kid off the list, right? But, okay, as you start to eliminate it down, you still have options. It's not like to your point, you thought you were going to be in medical, like, devices, right? In that world. You tried that flavor of jelly. It wasn't for you. That's what internships are for. And you decided to change. And, like, not that you're going to be a lifetime consultant. Maybe you are, but now you're trying some other things in business and content creating. And it's like, we're not going nowhere. We're not treading water. Pick a couple things and give it a try.
But just to add to that before you jump in, Emily, it's not just in work. It's in so many other things. And what is so hard for a young person who's just going through that transition is that you think work is going to be the thing that's going to satisfy you. If you don't have that, you are miserable. You're lost. But you can find all of what you need outside of work too, that will help you go to where you want to go within work.
Right. It's hard too, right? Because I think it's very easy to compare yourself, and you look, oh, what are my friends doing? And we're set up to take this traditional path of going, you graduate college, you do a 9 to 5. If you're not doing that, it's either frowned upon or people are questioning what you're doing. And that's also hard, right? Because you're looking left and right and you're thinking, okay, well, they look like they're happy and they're doing this and they're going on to do these things. And it's easy to say that person is successful. Maybe I should be doing that, but that's not always the right path. And I also think social media and podcasts and all of these new job opportunities with the technology advancement that we've had, it's opened so many doors for us. And now there's so many options. But what you were saying, Sam, about trying these different flavors, I think and something I struggle with, maybe you guys do too. I think, oh my gosh, am I running out of time? I just turned 24 earlier in the year. I think, and I know that sounds young, but then I think, well, I need to accomplish XYZ by this year. I don't know. I think time plays into it also.
I mean, I think certainly. And of course, everyone to your point says, oh, you're so young. Like, you have so much time. But you're like,
right.
Do I? Because if I wanted to go into whatever, it would have been great to be spending the last 3 years working on that. And so I'm just, again, I freaking love this book. I started it like last week. I'm already almost done. She talks instead about this thing called like your own personal capital. She's like, if you're trying something and it doesn't work out, that's not the dream thing for you. That doesn't mean that the whole entire year you were doing that was you learned nothing. You gained nothing. Like, that's something solid you can put on your resume. Those are skills that you learned. That's why I'm very glad, and I know we talked about this when we first met, that like you're doing consulting, because I think you gain just a ton of really general skills that'll transfer everywhere. It's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to be a partner at a big four consulting firm, but I also am gaining a ton of new skills. So I don't know. That's how I've been thinking of it. But I had a question for you, Emily, because you mentioned something about comparing yourself to other people, which I think is so spot on and refreshing to hear from a content creator, influencer like yourself, that, you know, it is something you struggle with. You mentioned success. What does success look like for Emily Billings?
It's very different. I think social media, and there's different types of success, I think, and different buckets I have in my life, right? There's a relationships bucket, there's a family bucket, there's the social media bucket I have now, and there's a work bucket. And then there's the relationship with myself. I think I don't really believe in balance. I think you manage what you can at different points in your life, and there's never going to be an even balance across the board. And that's just, the sooner you accept that, I think the sooner it is to put your energy into things that matter to you at that moment or that point in time. But success, I guess, to me, is making sure I'm filled in each bucket and I'm managing those relationships in each bucket. And for social media, it's really hard sometimes because that's either the amount of money I have coming in that month, or that's what my analytics are looking like. If I look too hard at my analytics, sometimes I get a little stressed out. Or if I'm not able to post X amount of videos, that's something I get really hard on myself, because people who do this for a full-time career, they're able to pump out content like nobody's business. I mean, they are putting 4 and 5 videos a day on TikTok. And there was a short period of time after I graduated when I was doing TikTok in between when I started at my full-time job in September, that I was able to do 3-4 videos a day, and you just constantly have creativity flowing. But now that's just not feasible for me anymore. So I had to shift and kind of pivot there, and I do what I can. I'm lucky if I get 2 to 3 in a day. And then, so that's, I guess, the social media bucket. Family bucket, I guess, trying to figure out, making sure I'm staying in touch with people and managing those relationships. And I guess that's relationships, family buckets kind of combined. But I'm going on a tangent. But yeah, different buckets, and it looks different for each bucket, I think.
That's great. I mean, I'm really curious on the whole piece of producing content. I can imagine it be sometimes really difficult when you either feel like you have to post but you don't, or you're frustrated because maybe you don't have an idea for a video but you feel like you have to post. Like, do you feel like that you go through those, like maybe like a rut here and there when it comes to content creation?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's normal. I mean, it's creativity in all aspects of life. I mean, I could also ask you guys that. Do you guys
That's
ever
true.
get,
All the time.
We've had
All the
these
time.
many guests on, we've talked about this topic, like what else is there to talk about? And
Every week, so Parker and
yeah,
I do one episode where it's called Fortitude and 15, where it's just us.
I
And
know.
I'm like,
I love
bro, I
those.
don't have anything to talk to you about.
This
Like,
is Sam
Yeah.
usually bringing to the table. I don't know what we
never.
could talk about. I'm like, dude, if we have nothing left to talk about, like, What, you talked about everything in the entire world or the history of everything? No, we always find things to talk about.
Yeah, that's life. I mean,
Yeah.
um, especially I think it's hard too because if my energy is all towards my full time from 8 to 6 p.m., I don't even want to look at my phone. Like
Mm,
I throwing my phone out the window. I'm going for a walk, I'm getting outside, I'm reading a book, I'm like
mm.
talking to my mom or talking to a friend. So I kind of lately, especially, I've just been honoring that and being like, you know what? I'm in a rut and the only thing that's going to fix this is like getting away from it and not forcing myself to do it.
So with that mindset, it reminds me a lot. Obviously, we have a lot of similarities in terms of creating content, and you're an elevator, right? Whether you knew it or not, now you are, and you're especially part of the nation. But I think an elevator at their core, their entire lives have always wanted to do more for themselves and for other people. And I think I'm curious if you feel the same way. I tell people all the time that it's a blessing and a curse, right? Being an elevator is awesome because I know there's so much in this life that I want to see, do, accomplish, help other people with. But it's also extremely frustrating because I'm never content.
Oh,
And so
never.
we go through these phases of like, Parker's really good at reminding me, even though he's an elevator too, of like, dude, celebrate this win. We just launched 250 episodes. And I'm like, great, awesome, way to go. Like, when are we recording our next one? And so I think it's really difficult for people who have this elevator mindset to take a step back and have some grace with themselves. To be like, I'm not a machine. I'm a human. Sometimes we have to celebrate wins. Sometimes we have to take breaks. Sometimes we have to realize that we can't always hit our goals.
Mhm.
But I think it like, I don't know if you feel the same way. Like it bothers me. Like it hurts my stomach when I don't get things done that I know I could have.
I've listened to episodes that you guys have put out with really successful people, and I feel like, and let me know if you guys have experienced this too. I think we get numb to certain things of like 250 episodes. That is so exciting. And to think that you guys have put out that's insane. I mean, there was a point in time when I wanted to produce a podcast myself, and it's like to think about reaching that
As
milestone
you
is
should.
insane.
You should still consider it, by the way.
I mean, I just hit 200K on TikTok and
Mm.
I was already thinking like, okay, well, what's next? It didn't, I started to feel a little numb to it because it's just what's next? What's next? So that's definitely a common feeling and you're not alone in that.
We've had many conversations about this idea of looking at success. When you hit a win, you're like, okay, I'll celebrate for even a little bit. And if you celebrate for a little bit, it's like, oh, wait, what's next? Right.
Mhm.
And I think we can all probably agree that that feeling of fulfillment, in a sense, comes through the journey, right? Comes through the
100%.
long-winded journey that you're on. And that has the peaks and the valleys within it. And yeah, when you hit a big win, it's like, okay, great, this is here, but we all know that's temporary. Everything is temporary. It's not going to be permanent. And I think once you start hitting a lot of those goals, you're like, okay, like I'm used to this. That's like your
Yeah.
baseline, your understanding. But what's really cool, I think, about an elevator is that I think we get satisfaction from pushing ourselves really hard and pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone. And that is when the true gratification comes, is when we push and we do something difficult and we succeed and we feel like we're elevating. The journey's where we're feeling all of that. It's not the actual moment when you get that trophy or whatever, like, oh, congratulations, 200K on TikTok. Like, great. I've worked hard, but the gratification comes from everything in between that got you there.
I love that. And this is kind of related. Another book, have you guys read? It's not like a traditional book, but it's How to Not Sweat the Small Stuff. Have you? Okay, it's just this little book and it's a really easy read and it's just a ton of life lessons and things to think about. Something that really stuck with me from that one, it's kind of touches on what you just mentioned, Parker, but it talks about being super overwhelmed with this to-do list. And every time you feel like you have this long to-do list, especially adulting, right? It just never ends. But every time you have an item that you cross off your to-do list, it's like you feel like there's just another one added. And this book kind of talked about the short entry that the to-do list is never going to end. There's always going to be more things. No matter how many things that you check off, there's always going to be something more to add to it. And instead of getting down about, oh, I checked a thing off and of course another one gets added, you just have to enjoy it. Enjoy the journey, just like you said, Parker. Enjoy going through those motions and make it fun. Figure out how to make it enjoyable and appreciate the journey rather than, I guess it's just shifting your mindset into appreciating it.
It's all mindset. And once you learn that you're living for you and the people that you love and the things and how you spend your time throughout a day give you that satisfaction or align with your goals, that is where you feel it. When you're doing stuff, you're spending a lot of your time on things that aren't aligned with your goals, you don't feel good. You don't feel fulfilled. And that is the thing that Sam went through. That is the thing that I went through. And I'm sure at times, Emily, that stuff that you're going through at some point as you're transitioning from college to the real world is because we find that we're spending time on the shit we don't want to be spending time on. That takes time. That's maturity. That's growth. That is elevating. Once you start to realize and fine tune that.
Elevation Nation, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually crazy how much I think your priorities and where you want to focus your time shifts as you get into adulthood. I don't know if you, okay, maybe this is just me. I'll tell a funny story. I was horrible in college at waking up early. I was like, all right, class isn't until like 10. I would never take an 8 a.m. So I'd wake up at 8, like get a great night's sleep, like 8 and 9 hours every night. And I remember being like, oh my God, I need to start training my body to wake up earlier. And so I would set alarms for 6 a.m. like before I even started my job to start to train my body. And now it's like, okay, I'm up, I'm at the gym, I'm going to the boxing gym, I'm doing my thing, I'm meditating. All these little things that we now make time for, or maybe I'm just getting older and I don't need as much sleep, but you now prioritize all these little things and you realize how valuable your free time is and where you really want to spend that time. I guess for you, Emily, you mentioned like you're working an 8 to 6, a 9 to 6 now. Like we all know our job is not easy. It's great and we love it. So thank you if you're listening from our employer, but it's hard sometimes. And so how have you kind of learned in your first couple years in adulthood how to balance all of the things that you love so much? I guess balance is the wrong word because you said there's no balance, but I guess the ebbs and flows of what you want to do.
Yeah, I think just what you said, prioritizing your time and figuring out where you want your energy to go. And I think that comes down to figuring out what your goals are and how can your day, one day isn't going to get you to your goals, but 2 days, 3 days turns into weeks, turns into months, it turns into a year. So time goes by so quick, whether we like it or not. And every day is so important. Obviously, there are some days where I don't get anything done. I didn't cross a single thing off my to-do list. I get distracted. Work didn't go well. But on a great day, I'm waking up early. I'm getting a workout in or getting outside for a walk at the very least. I am spending my time. If I have time between meetings, I'm responding to emails. I am either working on a script for a video I have to do or thinking of ideas. I'm getting back to my friends if I need to make plans for something.
Don't forget.
Playing pickleball, a recent addition, which hopefully Annapolis Dinner to Stars, the pickleball is tomorrow night. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled because of the rain. I forgot your question, Sam.
No, you're fine. You answered it. I distracted you with pickleball because I was going to bring up the most important part that Parker thinks he can beat me, but that's a whole, maybe that'll be our 415.
Maybe we like should
pro?
hold. Yeah, I mean, Sam thinks he's a pro. I've only played probably like 4 times, but I would put money, like actual money, on the table that I could beat Sam.
Do it.
Wow.
Do it.
100%. So
how much money?
Yeah, how much money, Parker?
I feel like we need to get a real wager here, but Sam he's a basketball guy. Like, he played basketball and football, right? I don't know. I was a goalie in soccer. I played catcher in baseball, and I played tennis all the way till I graduated high school.
Okay, big
So
misconception though.
I think I
Very
have
different.
hand-eye coordination skills that Sam doesn't have.
I feel like basketball's hand-eye coordination.
He's
no?
making it seem like I didn't play a real sport. All right,
No,
I
you
won't get
did.
us
No, you
tied up
did.
in this because we will go for 30 minutes, but we will let you know, Emily, who
It's
wins
gonna
in our
happen.
battle. And we will keep you
need
posted.
to be updated. Please do.
I love it. It's fun. The day it happens will be a special day.
I think we should live stream it to Elevation Nation.
Yeah.
I feel like people might want to see the battle. Parker.
And we'll get our guy pickleball
Alex Newman,
professional Alex Newman, to come hang out and critique Sam's stroke.
Oh my gosh. Are you a 4? Like, do you have I know they do.
a duper rating?
Yeah.
No, I don't play officially enough around DC to get a legit duper.
See?
I'm just talking to
Sounds like he talks a big game.
Exactly. This is what I deal with.
I know. It's brutal.
Well, I can't play Sam until after the marathon. You know that. So
I know. We don't want you to get injured. Don't worry.
yes, no injuries. And a lot of people get injured in pickleball, I've been reading, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
I could see it on hard on your knees or ankles.
Yeah.
Right?
Backpedaling and just trip,
Yeah.
break a hip. You never know.
Oh.
Brutal out
Rough.
there.
Damn, brutal out there.
Are you ready for the marathon, Parker?
I am excited. I wouldn't say I'm ready. I could probably run it tomorrow, but I have goals that I want to hit. And we have some time. I think it's 8-9 weeks left. So the training is definitely going to pick up. I ran 7 today, 6 yesterday, probably going to do 6 to 8 tomorrow. Then this weekend will probably be around 18 to 20 in one run. So
I could never, but good for you. I'll be there. My friend's running it.
I'm telling you, you can. You can't say never, because I was in the position where I literally couldn't run a mile, and that was during COVID.
Me. Wow.
Exactly. That's why I say never when it comes to it.
Yeah. I just don't enjoy running, I think.
Same.
Is the thing.
Same with me. I hated it.
So hold on. What was this moment that you had? You were like, I'm just going to sign up. I'm just going to do it?
Yeah. So COVID hit. I was locked down in my mom's place, and my grandma passed away right at the beginning of COVID while we're all locked in. And I put on 20 pounds, drinking a lot, eating a lot, and was absolutely miserable. And this is right before we started Elevation Nation. And so I was like, holy shit, I got to do something. And literally I was like, all right, I'll go outside in the Florida humidity, 1 mile. 1 mile turned to 2, 2 mile turned to 3, and then so on. I ran for a year. And then my best friend Miles was like, I'm running a marathon. How about this? We got drunk one day, and he's like, all right, you're going to sign up. You're going to pay the $250 entry fee, and you're going to run it. And that was it. That was what got me to actually commit. And now we're here. I'm running my second marathon. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What a story.
That was the fattest I ever was, which is hilarious too. I get some funny pictures.
I think all of us gained weight.
That's true. All of
drinking
America
during
was
COVID.
kind of going through it.
Yeah, it was a rough time.
It really was. So I want to move on. We have another section called our rapid fire section, where we have just a bunch of quick hitting questions that we didn't prep you for. Don't be nervous.
Okay.
They're fun ones. Okay. So I want to ask you, you post a lot of Hoboken content. Seem to be a big fan of Hoboken. Now, I only know it from our office that's there. I don't really know the area. I know you just made a face. What is your favorite spot in Hoboken?
Oh, okay. There's this place called the Stingray. I mean, the only reason I love it though is because they have great, I don't know if you guys like dirty martinis. Love a good dirty martini. They have a
Blue cheese
fire
olives?
dirty martini, blue cheese olives. So good. That's a good spot. I'm still getting to know the area. I love the coffee shops. I've been going to Rumble a lot recently. I've been loving that. I've been trying a few workout studios there. What else?
Cold plunges. You now do those.
Yeah, that's in the city though.
That's
I wish there was one in
Okay.
Hoboken.
Doesn't count. Got it.
I know.
You just jump in the river.
So you asked us earlier about companies that we would want to collab with. So this kind of sparks this rapid fire. Who is one person that you met through doing TikTok, social media videos that you just like, wow, I'm so glad I met that person? And then who is one person that one day you hope to meet or collab with?
Oh gosh, this is a really on the spot one. I've met so many. I mean, that is one of the best things to come out of social media. And I feel like you guys can totally relate to that too. Social media is amazing for bringing people together. And I've met some of the most amazing people. I don't know if I can think of one person. I mean, here's a cool person I met. Oh gosh, what's her name? She's very famous. She was in
Cut
the
this
Avenger.
part.
She was in, yeah. She was in the no, you guys know her. She's so famous.
You've given 0 clues that are helping us
I
figure it
know.
out for
We
you.
need clues. Any clues?
She was in the uh what was Black Widow?
She's Black Widow. Okay, let's just
Yeah.
Black Widow.
I cannot. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
Wow, that is one to forget.
Wait, so how did you meet her?
So she has a skincare brand called The Outset. And she had an event in the city, and I don't know why, but I was invited. And I went to the event and I talked to her, and she was the sweetest person ever. I mean, was there were she did like a kind of, it wasn't a meet and greet, but people were going to take pictures with her and everything. But she was engaging and actually trying to continue the conversation. And I had met up with a girl I had met on social media. And we went up together to go take a picture. And she was asking like how we knew each other. And we are like, oh, we just met on social media. And I think it was one of her security guards, I guess, were kind of making signals at us to move on and keep on going because we had already gotten a picture. And she's like, so where do you live? And she just kept trying to talk to us. And we were like, oh my gosh. So that was a really cool one.
That's pretty cool. All right, one person that you haven't met, but maybe you hope to meet or collaborate with.
Oh, I don't know.
Or just someone who inspires you.
Maybe a founder of a brand that I really love. Or I'm on the spot here.
Yeah, I put you to it.
I know. That's a hard one.
It's okay.
I'm bad with remembering names of people too.
All right, so someone really dope like an elevator who's making moves in the world. We can introduce you to plenty of them.
Please do. Or even like one that comes to my mind just because I was listening to something of his earlier, Ed Milet. I don't know if you guys are familiar of him.
Mm-mm.
He has this book called The Power of One. And I've been wanting to read that book, but I've listened to him on podcasts and he's a good listen.
There you go. You remembered a name.
I know. That was really tough. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. Okay, you've given us now a couple books, but one of our favorite things, as you know, Parker and I love to read. So is there one book that you're like, this is my favorite book of all time? You guys have to read this book for us to add to our list.
It's nothing you guys would probably want to read, but I just read this Colleen Hoover book called Verity.
Okay. What's the lowdown on it?
It's definitely a fantasy. It's a little dark, but it was a really good read and it had a plot twist at the end. I know you guys aren't going to read it, but it's like if you're a girl and you're a reader, you've read this book. If you ask any girl and she reads, she has read this book. Really good. Huge
it's fiction,
plot twist at the
right?
end.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think JJ read it.
And like, yeah, I'm sure JJ has read it.
Yeah.
Parker's fiance.
Okay.
We'll have to ask her about
I
it.
bet she.
What's it called again?
Verity.
Okay.
She's totally read it. If she hasn't,
I've heard that name, Colleen Hoover, many times.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of Colleen Hoover's like best books.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're buying you.
Take a spin at it.
We're buying you a new book, so you can add that to your library for someone who's going through their 20s. You're going to read The Defining Decade, and you're going to let us know how it is, because
I'm so excited.
It's solid.
I would
I
love
really
that.
like it.
Thank you guys.
I'm so into it right now.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm excited to read it.
It's a good one. All right, final section for you. You've been great. Thank you for opening up. I remember when you said at the beginning you were nervous. Like, you're now asking us questions. This is why we do it. It's amazing. But our last segment here, we ask every single person part of their initiation when you join Elevation Nation and you become a true, real elevator. We ask you for your mental motto. And that is a phrase that you live your life by that embodies who you are. So I want to ask you, Emily, what is your mental motto?
Okay, so I've thought about this a little bit, and I have two kind of. The first one I feel like is very basic, and it's something that I live my life by, and I think a lot of people live their life by this, but everything happens for a reason. There's been a lot of things in my life that have just happened, and I think just rolling with the punches and figuring it out as you go is really important, and just kind of trusting the universe or God or whatever higher power you believe in, that everything's going to be fine and it's all going to work out, and your mindset's everything. That's kind of my first one. But my second one, and more personal to me, is that confidence comes from making and keeping promises to yourself. And I was going to bring it up earlier, but I wanted to hold on to it. But I think that kind of really relates to what we were talking about a lot today, because if you have trust in yourself and you're honest with yourself about what you want, and I guess a lot of confidence is, I'm trying to find the words for it. I think happiness and confidence go hand in hand. And if you're confident, you'll be happy. And so if you want something, actually sticking to your word and your values and following through with it is really important, and building that confidence up for yourself so that you're happy in the long run.
Confidence is key.
Yep.
Thank you for those two mental mottos. Those are so cool. Like, one of the coolest things about everyone having a mental motto is they're usually so different, and it's just what helps you kind of keep going and keep elevating. And so for every single person that comes on, all the people that we speak to, everybody gets to develop a mental motto, and it's just so personal to you and your journey and your story, and just keeps you moving forward. And so, Emily, I'm extremely grateful that, one, you reached out umpteen months ago and we got to meet in a professional setting, but I'm more grateful that we now get to meet with our side hustles and friendship colliding. And I'm just so excited to start welcoming you to Elevation Nation. I have like 1,000 intros that I know Parker and I are going to want to make for you that we think would make great collaborations. And it's just awesome seeing people chase their dreams and figure it out along the way, because that's what we're all doing, just trying to figure this thing out.
Definitely. This was so fun. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We certainly had a blast, and man, the best thing about the podcast is it's just the start. So welcome to the nation. We are pumped to have you.
Oh, thanks, guys.
All right, Sammy.
Until next week, Elevation Nation. Peace. Good job.